The vibrant Concord farming community generates an impressive variety of fresh vegetables, fruit, flowers, plants, and other farm products every year. As the post-pandemic season opens, let's see how 5 Concord farmers got ready for it during early spring 2021.
Hi, my name is Roseanne Scimone, and we own Scimone Farm. This is my sister Grace, and we have been here since 1925, farming the same piece of land because my grandparents came from Italy, and they settled down here, and they had 4 children, and we have been here. We've been here ever since. Scimone Farm is known for especially corn and tomatoes and all kinds of beans and all kinds of vegetables.
And our sunflower patch
Yes.
that everyone stops to take pictures of in the spring. They stand, 6 to 8 feet tall. They're just a sign of just happy times. So we have our tomato seedlings and our vegetable seedlings ready for sale, and we have now broadened our cut flower business into many, many varieties. So we currently have 20 acres of farmable property, of farmable land. Everything that we grow, we sell at the farm stand. We don't have enough help to run like a farmer's market or anything, which is why we enjoy Ag Day so much, because we can actually have that experience once a year of having a farmer's market and just being part of the community that way. So we really enjoy that day. So today we're going to be planting English peas. English peas are one of the 4 varieties of peas that we plant here at Scimone Farm. We do English peas, which are also known as shelling peas. We do snow peas, which are great in stir fries, and we do sugar snap peas, which you can eat pod and all. And the other thing we do is sweet peas, which are not edible, but they're a beautiful flower. One of my favorites. We do everything the old-fashioned way. Everything's by hand. So I usually plant, and Roseanne usually covers. So it's kind of an art, because if you put too many, then they get overcrowded and
They choke each other out.
Yeah. And then you have to put enough to make it worthwhile in the row. So I put a few in my hand, and it's just this one sweeping motion. And then I go by, and I just take the dirt from one side and the other side and just cover, making sure to leave this valley so when it rains, the water will collect and not run off. These are sugar snap peas. These will be ready to harvest in about 67 more days. Right here, and the pea tendrils are now becoming a staple in a lot of microgreens and salads. They're tasty and sweet. These are snow peas, and they don't have as many tendrils. They and it's more of this is a compact variety, so it doesn't need to be trellised. About 70 days we'll be picking peas.
Right. And after the hard year that we have had, it's nice to finally get spring again and new growing season, and to hopefully provide everybody with some yummy vegetables and fruits.
I'm Steve Verrill, one of the partners of Verrill Farm, along with my wife and daughter Jennifer. We're the second family to own it after the Wheelers that were granted some of this land by the King of England. And we've been on it for just over 100 years now. We're doing dairy farming until 1990, and then we switched to vegetables. We'd been doing some on the side before, but we switched completely to vegetables and strawberries. And in the farm stand, we have a commercial kitchen where we do a lot of prepared meals and baked goods and soups and things. That made a good balance to round out the business. Well, we crop about 150 acres of farmland. Sweet corn is one of our more popular things and takes up nearly half the acreage. We have I guess about 6 acres of strawberries, maybe 5 or 6, and 6 or 8 of rhubarb. I have asparagus and rhubarb patch here, an acre or so, and the rest of it's all miscellaneous from zucchini to asparagus, I guess. Beets, carrots, onions, leeks, cabbage, broccoli, spinach.
Tomatoes?
Tomatoes are a big thing. Yeah, actually, tomatoes have beat out corn now as the #1 seller.
How many varieties?
I'm not sure what we have this year. We've been weeding some out, but I think we'll have close to 50 probably. The majority of it's sold right here in the farm stand. Well, we start a lot of plants in the greenhouse early in the season, and that's what we're putting out in the field now. There's lettuce and onions, leeks, bunching onions, broccoli. That's Swiss chard. That's about the major transplants, but we do several plantings of many of them. And lettuce, we transplant from plugs. We start them up in the greenhouse every week, right through to August. And we start them in the plugs and transplant them with a planter, and that lets us get a very precise row that's exactly 10 inches or 20 inches apart with a lettuce. There's 3 rows to a bed, they're 20 inches apart. Plants are a foot apart. And that way we can do mechanical cultivation that is very precise. And, sometimes you can't concentrate on it all day long, but for a few hours you can.
I'm Chip Poutasse. I run Brigham Farm, and my sister runs the farm stand. She's Jane Brigham Bailey, and Chris Dooley runs the greenhouse. And we're open for sale of plants right now, and vegetables will be open for sale from June through the Halloween. We're right on Route 117 in Concord, the corner of Garfield Road and Route 117. It's called Fitchburg Turnpike in Concord, but it has a different name every town it goes through. The Brigham family moved here in the 1820s, and they've been here, ever since. And my sister's a lineal descendant. I'm part of the collateral branch of the family. We have 5 acres of cultivated land that we own, and then I rent another 11 acres, little patch here, 3 acres here, 2 acres there, 4 acres somewhere else. Most of it's restricted one way or another, so it can't be built on. If it could be built on, most of it would have been built on a long time ago. I have 4 weeder geese. I turn them loose in the strawberries after we pick them in late June and early July. These were planted last May, and we get the plants from Norse Farms in the middle of the state, Whately, Massachusetts. And we plant them, and then we gotta weed them all summer long because we want them to branch out. They send out little runners, so that this would be planted about 18 inches apart, 2 rows in the bed. I've got 10 beds here. But then they spread out. After they get established, they send out runners. So you can't weed them mechanically. You can use an herbicide, but I don't use an herbicide on the strawberries. And then I cover them with straw in the fall, around about Thanksgiving. And the straw doesn't keep it from freezing, but it keeps it from freezing and thawing in a rapid cycle. So it lets them freeze, and then it keeps them frozen. And then when it starts warming up, like today, they start shooting up through the straw. You don't see any blossoms on them yet. They aren't at this stage when they're pushing out their blossoms, but they will be soon. We grow sweet corn. We pick it every morning and we sell it fresh picked that day. So that's pretty much what people remember when they think of our stand.
I'm Ben Elliott, and we're at Saltbox Farm right now. Saltbox Farm was built by my grandparents in the 1940s, and my wife and I moved in here at the farm about 15 years ago. And about 10 years ago, I really started the process of figuring out how to fix the farm up, repair a lot of infrastructure, and try to learn how to farm. So it's been quite an adventure and a pretty serious evolution these past few years. It's been amazing. I'm a chef by trade. So, but after living here for a few years and cooking all along in restaurants in Boston and elsewhere, I really wanted to figure out how to bring those two parts of my life together, the cooking and the farming, growing good, healthy food, keeping a farm sustainably productive and active, and really tie that element of food together. As I say, it's been huge evolution, but it's been an amazing adventure. It's a 10-acre farm. About 3 acres we're growing crops on about 3 acres. We raise some sheep on about 6 acres or so, and the rest we're cultivating vegetables. We also grow hops for our little brewery we have in our restaurant, Saltbox Kitchen, which is in West Concord. So we grow hops for the brewery. We keep chickens for eggs. We have bees for honey, and we put a few fruit trees in a number of years ago, which are just starting to bear fruit now. Some apples, peaches, and pears. We had a pretty vibrant CSA program here, which was great. But last year, again, with COVID, we decided to pause on that. And so now everything we're growing comes to the restaurant. So we're cooking with everything at Saltbox Kitchen. We're using all the things, all the crops on our menus. However, we are growing a lot, which is very exciting, but we can't cook with all of it. So we've set up a little farm stand within the restaurant so people can come and buy dinner or lunch or whatever it might be, but also take home a big bag of freshly harvested veggies that come from right here. So this is our hop yard. Mark Congdon, our farm manager, and Maddie is here as well as our this year's apprentice at the farm, which I should mention actually is been a program that Mark started a few years ago, where we are welcoming 1 or 2 people a year to Saltbox to really help teach the next generation of farmers. I think just keep, we need farmers. so here we are. We're using this whole space as a place to not only continue to learn and grow ourselves, but like I say, introduce all the practices that we have here to people who are excited to learn. So what's happening here right now, as I mentioned, this is our hop yard. We are growing a few different kinds of hops that we use at the brewery when we're brewing our beer. They've just started to emerge. You can see that we're just hand weeding right now. We've got this landscaping fabric down to help keep the weeds at bay, keep the poison ivy away. And so we're just giving them a good weeding by hand. You can see kind of the before and after here. Eliminating the competition, so to speak. And the trellis lines are all set up. Hops are a vine and they'll pretty much reach the top line by end of August. Most of them will, if they're good and strong and healthy. End of August. And they'll be dripping, if all goes well, and it's a good season, they'll be dripping with little hop buds, which is what goes into the beer.
Hi, my name's Kelchlin. I'm the farm manager here at Gaining Ground Farm. So we are a nonprofit organization, and we farm on 3 acres of land on Virginia Road in Concord, Massachusetts. This land has been farmed for hundreds of years. Currently, we grow over 40 types of vegetables and herbs, and we donate it all to food pantries and meal programs in the greater Boston area. We use methods like no-till and regenerative farming, where we just try to disturb the soil as little as possible and to promote as much diversity of life underground and above ground as possible. So we have volunteers out 4 days of the week. It ranges from little kids to seniors, all ranges of abilities, ages, and we use a lot of season extension as well. So you'll see we have a lot of hoop houses here where we can start growing in February and grow through December. And we also have a maple sugaring operation that we tap trees all around Concord, about 100 trees, and produce about 40 gallons of maple syrup that is also donated. And finally, we have a beekeeping program as well, where we have bees here that help us pollinate our crops, and we also donate the honey produced. We don't sell anything. Everything is donated. We can do that because we have a lot of volunteers, and we also have generous donors, individuals, grants, foundations. Between the farmers and volunteers, in the past we've had up to 2,500 volunteers come throughout a season. Last year with the pandemic, we really scaled back and just had a handful of volunteers here and there. But this year we're opening back up to volunteer programming.
Farming's central place in Concord's history, economy, and landscape is celebrated in a new community mural, just revealed by artist and organizer Margot Kimball.
The main thing about this mural is that it's a show of gratitude to the farmers. And I mean the farmers who have been tilling the soil and tending the land and feeding us since the time of the first people here.
Enjoy the bounty of Concord Farms all season long by visiting their stands and buying fresh local produce throughout the summer. And save the date. Ag Day, Concord's annual farmers market, is scheduled for Saturday, September 11 on Main Street in downtown Concord.